Joined in prayer we worship thee, rays of light that seek the sun. Many drops to make us see, so our love when joined as one. So our love when joined as one. Joined in prayer we worship thee, rays of light that seek the sun. Many drops to make us see, so our love when joined as one. So our love when joined as one. Joined in prayer we worship thee, rays of light that seek the sun. Many drops to make us see, so our love when joined as one. So our love when joined as one.
Joined in Prayer, as you just heard, is a short song, repeated something like a chant. The Swami Kriyananda originally wrote the song for what's known as the superconscious attunement ceremony, and it is sung before a minister then leads the congregation in doing healing prayers. So imagine that you're in a service like that, and then you're singing, "Joined in prayer we worship thee, rays of light that seek the sun, many drops do make us see, thus our love when joined is one." The suggestion for the song itself came from another Ananda member who observed to Kriyananda that when people come together to meditate, they often isolate themselves mentally as if no one else was there in the same room with them. And yet it was Jesus who said, "When two or more are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them." And that gathering in Christ's name, I think, means primarily a joining together in consciousness, in vibration, not so much in just physical proximity, but again in consciousness. As Kriyananda said, the purpose of group meditation is to join your vibrations together, not just to do your kriyas as a group by accident. So this song then was intended to emphasize that thought of joining our vibrations together. Now Kriyananda said, interestingly, that he tried for months, once he had the suggestion, to get a song that would work, but he said it just wouldn't come to him. He just couldn't find the right vibration and melody for it. And it came actually then just a few hours before he shared the first superconscious attunement ceremony as a whole with people at Ananda Village. And so the necessity being the mother of invention, the inspiration came when he really needed it the most. Now the metaphors used in the lyrics here also help us to understand that although we might think that we as individuals are quite insignificant in the great scheme of things, each one being a single ray of water, as the lyrics say, or a single ray of light, I mean, or a drop of water, we discover that we discover our divine value, as it were, when we join together with others in a shared aspiration. That is to say that it's not that we're each a ray of light shining in random directions. It's that we are rays of light seeking the sun, that is, seeking the light of higher consciousness, the sun of the spiritual eye. So instead of being a single drop of water that might be absorbed meaninglessly into a desert or evaporated into the air, our coming together is what makes it possible to form a pond, a lake, or the whole ocean. Many drops do make a sea. As Kriyananda said in another lecture, he said, "An ocean consists of countless drops. Although a raindrop adds but little moisture to the earth, once it unites with many other drops, a mighty current is created which flows down to the sea. We too, united with God's will, can help mightily in the struggle between the forces of light and darkness. Thus may we be instrumental in ushering in a period of peace and universal understanding." In the context then of any event that involves shared prayer, whether it be healing prayers as in the superconscious attunement ceremony, doing prayers for peace, or as it happened recently at Ananda Village here in the summer of 2019, we had the dedication of the new Temple of Light. Using this song, Joined in Prayer, really reminds us that although it might seem that we have very little as individuals to give, little that might affect something or someone else in the world, that little bit of power gets greatly amplified when we come together again for a shared purpose. In this way, this song, Joined in Prayer, when sung with that awareness, can be very, very powerful, even though on the surface it seems like a so-called simple song with only a handful of words and one simple melody. And, sometimes I have heard people in choirs lament about just melody-only songs like Joined in Prayer or I Wander with Thee or some of the other seemingly simple songs that Kriyananda has given us. And discounting them on this basis of, oh, they are simple, can't we sing something more complex? But complexity, is just about pleasing the ego in a way, pleasing the ego that it can deal with complexity, whereas, as Sri Yukteswar said, God is simple, everything else is complex. And to discount a song on the basis of its apparent simplicity would be like discounting the chanting of Om simply because it has one word and one note. But with intention and concentration, chanting Om can be not only deeply transforming, it can be liberating. And that's really true with also songs like Joined in Prayer, that through this song, you can attune yourself more and more to that truth that we're all one, to borrow a line from the song O Master, the truth that we are all waves on the ocean of spirits. We're drops in the ocean of bliss, but we are yet part of that ocean of bliss. Or to use the other metaphor in the song, we are individual rays of the divine light. Or to put it another way, that our individual love is expressed in prayers, as we do after using the song typically, comes together to then express universal divine love and has a lot of power in that way. Now, this song, Joined in Prayer, particularly resonates with the throat chakra, the center of expansion, which helps one rise beyond merely personal concerns to feel a greater sense of oneness with everything, just as the lyrics suggest. And such a consciousness is very helpful when doing healing prayers for others, which are, in fact, a very deep form of service because they encourage, as we're sending energy out to other people, we're forgetting ourselves. It encourages self-forgetfulness, and in that helps us overcome the negative quality of self-preoccupation. So this song is very, very good for if you're feeling like there's just too much that you're worried about yourself. Sing this song, then say some prayers for other people. Get outside, get outside of yourself, get into that self-forgetfulness, and see how your consciousness is transformed. Now, by magnetizing the throat chakra, this song also helps to magnetically pull energies up the spine from not just the heart, but the lower chakras as well. As in all of Ananda music, any references to we and us and our, as we have joined in prayer, we worship thee, so our love when joined is one. These words can be taken inwardly to refer to all of our mental citizens as well as the different chakras, where those citizens then live. And when those chakras and citizens then you join together in prayer, that idea of we worship thee, which is to say join together in the upward flow of energy to the expansiveness of the throat chakra as expressed by the sea in the lyrics and also the seeking the sun here, then our prayers and our meditations become all the more powerful. And really, I highly recommend singing the song at the start of a group meditation, even mentally at a time of personal meditation, because meditation is a form of prayer, and the song helps to unite energies in the spine as Kriya Yoga does as well. And really, like I've said elsewhere, I think Ananda music as a whole is a musical expression of Kriya Yoga. And so singing the song really helps bring you into that consciousness as well. Now, joining together also, whether it be in a group of people or just within your own spine, helps overcome feelings of isolation, just as the suggestion that inspired the song to begin with, as I mentioned earlier. So, Joined in Prayer here is especially a meaningful and powerful song for anyone who doesn't enjoy the physical proximity of other devotees, like we do here at Ananda Village. And I mean by that that you don't have the advantage of. It's not that you don't enjoy them like you hate being around other people. It's that you are perhaps alone in a town by yourself without other devotees around, and so having that joined in prayer consciousness can help you unite in your consciousness to other devotees around the world. It's also why Ananda Online has the virtual community that works so very well, because proximity of consciousness is actually far more important than proximity of our bodies and proximity of matter. Now, there's another kind of isolation that the song also helps to overcome, and that's not so much the isolation imposed by physical circumstances, but that imposed by attitudes of arrogant pride, or you might call it pride of self-worth, like the kind of hardcore do-it-yourselfer type person that, you probably know others like that who go through life thinking, I don't need anyone else, to hell with them, right? You probably know some people like that. Or they say, why bother working with anyone? I can do it by myself. Or it's pointless to work with and depend on other people, so I just got to do it all on my own. I personally have relatives who very much think and act in this way, refusing as much as possible to really spend money on any goods or services that they can somehow do on their own, even though they are quite wealthy and could certainly support and encourage and help other people by hiring them. It's one thing to be frugal when you must be, as these relatives had to be earlier in their lives, but when your own needs are fulfilled, there's a tremendous opportunity to then help fulfill the needs of others by hiring out their services, buying their products, and otherwise supporting their livelihoods in the same way that somebody else was supporting yours all through your life when you were earning your income. I'm surprised, in fact, by one of these relatives who complains incessantly about taxes, and yet the whole of his life has basically been working for a company that's primarily supported by tax dollars through the defense industry. And it's like, this is it is a hypocrisy, really, to say, complain about taxes when all of the wealth that he has is really the tax money from the rest of the country. So it's quite amusing when I hear that contradiction and that hypocrisy. But anyway, when we're stuck in this attitude, we really can't see past things like the dollars and the money to seeing how our spending, even just a little more, can really be there to help people. And ultimately the karmic law suggests that if people like that continue with selfish attitudes, then they, will not retain their wealth in their next lifetimes and have to learn, the lessons of the other side and learn that sharing is really important. In any case, the attitudes here that we might describe as haughtiness, or also superciliousness, I think is a fancy word for it. They describe a kind of arrogance or pride that isn't so much about denying others worth or value, or even denying their potential contributions, but rather denying the power of cooperation. And really, in extreme forms, such a fiercely negative consciousness does bring one to the point of denying that anyone else even could have a value or make a contribution, which would ultimately, by denying the value of others, take one farther and farther away from divine consciousness, because in God's eyes, every one of his children, including every animal, plant, and insect, and indeed, to quote the poem Samadhi, each particle of universal dust, every little bit of it has value. As much value as any saint or angel has, because they're all part of, as Sri Yukteswar said, essential to the universal structure. And so with its ability to overcome the potential power of such negative emotions like this song, joined in prayer, albeit very simple in musical terms, is a truly powerful song and a powerful means, especially in its ceremonial use, of attunement to superconsciousness.
Joined in prayer we worship thee, rays of light that seek the sun. Many drops do make us see, so our love when joined as one. So our love when joined as one. Joined in prayer we worship rays of light that seek the sun, many drops to make us see. So our love when joined as one, so our love when joined as one. Joined in prayer we worship thee, rays of light that seek the sun, many drops to make us see. So our love when joined as one, so our